Hello, wanted to post again for my discussion board post, and I was just getting into. I'll hop right into it. All right, so in the literacy for the 21st century, that was about just how the different levels of reading and writing and how they correlate, and the three stages of reading and writing, how it becomes emergent, where they're not really using any sort of true letters or reading, um, and then it goes to beginning where they're using those, but they're definitely not using them appropriately, and then fluent where they are completely able to go through in the beginning stages of reading and writing. You see those stages throughout, even though they do have specific age ranges. You would also see it when people have like developmental delays, and especially I I see it a lot depending on where I am and who I'm working with as a special education teacher. It also speaks about the development of oral language and how it's happening, and how it's speaking with children, and then using things such as word walls and shared reading and chorale reading in order to help develop the oral language. And so when you're a teacher and you're consistently modeling, and they give some best practices to use as well while you are in teaching. And then they spoke about how the stages of oral development, there's four stages too, where they go through and learning how to speak properly and the things that they should be saying, and how to use words in those stages and that as well. And so what stuck out the most to me is just the development of that oral language and how choral reading could help students, because they're looking, they're reading, and they're saying it. Even though they might not be able to read it independently, you're still able to get them into it. And also in this chapter, I was speaking on how to like keep students interested in reading, and when it might not be the easiest, and that stuck out for me. um, Also, and then in the reading reveal, they speak on how that assessment portion of it, and how to keep students aligned with it. And from there I pulled out mostly the like formative assessment and things that I've learned on those aspects. um, Next was the words their way, and in words their way they were speaking of how the running record is used for assessment, and how formative assessment can be useful, and how informal assessment can be useful, how they both work together. Informal assessment is usually looked at as something quick, but truly informal assessment is supposed to be using things for specific use. So if I'm having trouble with a child, and or I have suspicion, I'm sorry, I have suspicion that the child is struggling with something, then I could use an informal assessment to see what exactly they are struggling, and that can confirm or deny my present thoughts. And so the use of informative assessment, how they correlate with one another. In the expert posts, they speak about emergent literacy as well, and how it starts on before they're truly like conventionally writing. And so those are the things that you start to see your students or the young kids. They're like making up these word like symbols that are supposed to mean letters, and you're able to sort of differentiate or decipher what they are talking about. And then it speaks on how like students that are having trouble also um, with reading, some of those byproducts that happen. And so you start to see there might be an inattention. Students may start having behaviors due to the fact that they don't truly understand what is going on, and how we can, as educators, help those students. I think that the expert post did a very good job of giving practices that can help. This was what I took from this week, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.